What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder podcast. I did read the comments of what you guys suggested for the name, and a lot of people are like, just call it the Cosmic Wonder podcast. I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, basically, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean that is 100% what it is. What's up? I'm Warren, from the Cosmic Wonder, the voice you hear every day, and the face you see sometimes. And with me is which way? This way. Law,
Oh, nice.
who's
Nice
with me in all the
orientation.
podcasts.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back.
So quick note.
Mhm.
If you've been enjoying the podcast or the channel, be sure to subscribe because both Law and I have received episodes of Loki season 2.
We
We
have
have watched some episodes of Loki season 2. We cannot say anything about it at all until what, October 2nd?
I thought it was the 4th.
The
Comes
4th.
out on the
We're gonna
5th.
double check that right now. I got that. I'll double check that right now. Okay, Loki. No, social embargo lifts Monday, October 2nd.
Gotcha.
So we can't say anything till 9 p.m. Pacific time. And a review embargo, which means we can just pretty much talk about it all we want, is October 3rd at 6 a.m. So we're going to record an entire podcast just talking about Loki season 2 before it comes out. We'll probably do half and half. First part, not talking about spoilers, obviously, for the people who don't, wanna hear those, obviously. But we can talk about spoilers. So maybe like the second half or the last quarter of it, we'll talk about spoilers for the people who want some juice on it, right?
The juicy theory time, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I was going to say something, but I can't. We can't say anything about it, but we will have some episodes where we do extensively say things about it.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Not sure if people heard yesterday. News was announced that Marvel Studios is starting to look for writers for the X-Men movie, which is like, that's what we've been waiting for.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Man.
I mean, Law, do you have a favorite X-Men character? I don't think I've ever asked you.
Yes, I do. He's right there on my wall, actually. There's Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner.
Oh, Nightcrawler. All right.
I'm a big Nightcrawler guy. In the comics, I'm a big
He's
Cyclops guy. I also like Havoc. There's so many. X-Men is such a great series. There's so many good runs. I love like the different ones, like even Uncanny X-Men I really liked as a kid. Like Ultimate X-Men even I enjoyed. Like I don't know. And then the art and stuff, like if you're talking about, I don't know, in Fortnite, I use the Rogue skin. I use Skylock. I use Gambit. I love the X-Men.
The Psylocke skin's dope, especially with like the pickaxe. That's like her energy.
She's so goddamn hot too.
Yeah, freaking yeah. That's one of the top tier Fortnite skins right there. And was it Chun-Li?
Chun-Li is also up there. Yeah, but we digress. But
top tier.
But yes, I will say the Fantastic Four were the first comic book I ever picked up. Like the original Stan Lee one. Like I bought like a trade of it. Wow. The second, but then the immediate next stuff was like a X-Men storyline about Nightcrawler, and I just like fell in love with the X-Men because like I saw the TV show, but yeah, I'm a big X-Men fan for sure.
I wish I could remember the first comic I picked up, but I don't. There was this comic store in Texas where my family's from, and I remember as a kid, my uncle would take me there, and we would just get some my uncle, who he actually passed away recently, but he was a huge. I'm thinking of that because I'm like, wonder what happened to all of his collectible stuff. Because I don't think his kids were too like big into it, but he was just the biggest. Like, man, his house was so cool. You go in his house, and it's like my studio times like 20. Like literally, he'd been collecting stuff for such a long time, and I guess I partly have him to thank for me getting into comics. Actually, my dad to thank for getting me into movies, but man, he had so much, and I was so young. I don't remember like the first comic he ever got me, unfortunately, but I do remember reading a lot of X-Men. Yeah, I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, is your favorite X-Men Angel?" I'm like, "Why?" Because his name Warren, and I'm Warren.
Mr. Worthington.
Yeah, I'm like, he is one of my favorites. I really like him, and I actually do think like Marvel should probably do a true X-Men First Class to introduce the X-Men. Maybe like that thought has been in my mind recently.
I'll be honest with you. That's exactly what I'm hoping for.
Right. I think that's
I want
yeah,
Iceman, Beast,
yeah.
Jean Grey, Cyclops,
Cyclops, yeah.
Angel.
Cyclops the leader, Angel, yeah.
I don't care if
Angels,
it's
like,
set in the 60s or like no, not the 60s, I'm sorry. Like the 90s or something, or like the
sure.
80s. And then so that way they age up. Or maybe they do it as adults and then Xavier's school is like really young and we see that
Yeah.
develop.
Yeah.
But like I as much as I want to see like all of these guys, I want hints of them for sure. Because
Right.
like
Yeah.
there should be a shit ton of mutants, like we should see the scale of that. But I there's like a purist side of me that's like, because an X-Men First Class, great movie, but I really wanted to see like I don't know. There's something about that classic lineup and just
right. There is, and that's what
the
I've been thinking
Marvel
about
take
lately.
on that though. Yeah, like I want to
Yeah,
see
and
that.
and it's like Professor X is kind of like their father, so in that, you know what I mean. But like Cyclops is like the leader. It's there's so much potential, but I want. So this is what we're gonna talk about. I wonder how they're going to like introduce them in the MCU. It's very clear that they've hinted X-Men, or at least the mutant gene, exists in people in our current MCU. Because like I think with our last podcast we talked about the reboot. Last couple of podcasts we talked about the reboot, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, there's rumors that the Fantastic Four movie is going to be set in another universe. Is it the same for the X-Men? And then after it's like a combined universe, and now we have these other like legacy X-Men characters. Like, is our Professor X going to be from a different universe? And then all of a sudden he's taking care of these new mutants, not the New Mutant team, but right, new X-Men mutants coming into the MCU. All of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, no, we had mutants in our universe. You're just now like, your gene is basically just now being ignited, and now you have mutants. Let me create my school here and I'll coach everybody.
Yeah.
Like, is that
that's one way to do it. I would actually be kind of like, it's I feel like it's like a really clean way to do that. But I would be like a little like I would feel cheapened by that.
Right.
Because I want to see how their roots, if they tie into what we know already. Right. Because it almost feels like an easy write-off to just be like, and then the universes collided. Like, and I want to see them kind of like skirt around that.
Yeah.
But who knows?
And that's like the thing is like, we want, okay, so I shouldn't say I want origin stories, right? And you know what I was thinking actually recently? I was like, you know what I would actually like? I would like to see a good handful of X-Men projects of Magneto being good before his feud with Xavier. I think that would be a cool spin, right? Because we did get X-Men First Class where, they're friends for, half the movie, whatever it may be. But then on out, every other movie is, Xavier and Magneto. Yeah. And then even with the original X-Men films, right, they're already pinned against each other, right? We come into it where it's really like, like a Wolverine and like a Rogue kind of origin story. Well, I shouldn't even say origin story.
It's interesting that you say that though, because like we get a glimpse of like how Beast kind of came to be in a sense, right? Like they handle that decently. We've seen Jean Grey a ton of times, but like, have you ever seen the plane accident with Scott and his brother that like causes him to ignite his powers? Like, I want to see all that stuff still too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see how Iceman developed from the snowman to like ice form. You know what I mean? Like, see that process too.
So, I think we just. Well, no, that's a good point, because it's like going back to what I was saying before. If you take the like multiverse universes colliding part out of it, maybe you can just say like, well, nothing like really. And this is like, I don't know if this is a cop out or good storytelling. It's like complete opposite sides. Like, do we say like the snap activated these genes that just weren't awakened yet in a human population, right? You could make that a story.
I mean, they did something similar. Well, like not energy, but they did something in like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's how the Inhumans came to
Inhumans, right. But
it could be a good way to do it. That would explain Kamala and stuff, but like,
well, that's what I was about to say. Are they getting rid of the Inhumans? Like, because they already retconned Kamala.
Yeah, so maybe they just don't foresee themselves using Inhumans in the future. Maybe the Inhumans become like a faction of mutants. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
exactly.
Because like in Miss Marvel, we see that like other realm, right? Like where she pulls the energy from, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I'm wondering, like, could that be like Genosha, like a portal to where that
A
place
lot of
exists?
people
You know
theorize that.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
or maybe they already exist in the universe and they're living on Genosha. We just don't see it in the same way we don't see Wakanda or
Maybe.
Talokan.
And another thought, kind of that, like maybe the like the X-Men team, like if Xavier is there, Magneto's there, maybe it's like maybe Xavier kind of erased everyone's memories.
I've thought about that too.
Right, and it's not time yet, and that could bring the Magneto, conflict with the humans and everything into the picture as well.
Yeah,
because he can be like, it's never time. They'll always hate us, right? Like Xavier's like, it's not time yet. People aren't ready for us yet. They're not ready for the super powered people. But now, after everything that's happened in the Infinity Saga and the multiverse saga up to now, it's like, well, maybe now we can. And you can see how, like, Magneto would be like, this is it, we're done. Like, these people are out here, they've saved the world, like, people accept them, we're coming out.
yeah.
But it's obviously,
I love that, but I would almost love to see it a step further where, like, if he'd erased the memory, maybe like Magneto was on the front lines for some of those events that we just didn't see.
Oh,
And then the
yeah.
world just forgot in the same way they forgot about Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's actually a really good idea.
And
That's
that's why
actually
he's pissed,
right.
like look what I did. I saved these
this.
people and they don't
Yeah.
and no one knows about us. Like I would be pissed too. That's like a great way to like kind of refreshen his hatred towards humans.
It is, and you could split like the you could split the Avengers from the X-Men because it's like Iron Man doesn't have powers, right? Some of them were like genetically experimented on to get, they weren't born with them, right?
But they're all human at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Like,
except for
like
Thor, of course.
Right. That's another point. Magneto could be like, even like a freaking god like can come down from a freaking entire different world, right? And people are just chilling because he's so good looking. Like,
yeah,
like they sent the dang destroyer down, and I killed that thing in an instant because I could control it.
They should give that guy 4 movies.
Yeah, right. You got Deadpool there saying stuff like that.
Yeah. That'd be great.
And I'm curious about like the jokes they're gonna make in Deadpool 3, but I gotta say I was kind of shocked to hear that they are making a movie, because I almost thought, and I haven't decided what I would prefer. If it's like, do I prefer them to introduce individual mutants and build that up to an X-Men team like the Avengers, like, Captain America, Iron Man.
Yeah.
We'll throw the Hulk in there, I guess, like his solo movie. The solo Thor movie, and then they come together as the Avengers. As I was almost wondering, like, okay, we'll get the Scott one, right? And we'll Xavier, Magneto, maybe that's one movie or 2 different movies, right? Jean Grey, like, and then they come together to be the X-Men. And I actually I don't think Magneto should be the villain for a bit, because we've done that for years now, years, decades. So I don't know if I would like the origin way better, but I kind of did think they were going to do that because it's a tried and true method for them with the Avengers. So hearing that there's a movie, I was very surprised. I'm not disappointed, obviously. I'm very, very excited, but I was really surprised to hear that. And there's a lot of ways to do it.
It's interesting because there's so much story with X-Men, and there's so many ways to adapt it. And like you said, there's like a ton of stories within the X-Men where it's like we could just focus on Bobby for a while. We could just focus on Scott. Hank McCoy, like he had a great little run in the like the first class,
ones.
Movies.
Yeah.
But then we all know that franchise went off the rails, and I'm sure Deadpool 3 will like shit all over it, but like it's totally going to, but like but it started off so pretty strong in my opinion. Like Days of Future Past was like an interesting adaptation of a really classic storyline, and I liked it a lot. And then First Class was really good. And like Logan was really good, but like everything else around it was doo doo.
Yeah.
And so it's like, as an X-Men
Dark
fan,
Phoenix.
I just want it to work, and I feel like, I don't know. We've been in Marvel for a very long time. We said this on one of the previous podcast episodes. The X-Men are like a really great entry point to get excited again about the MCU in like a refreshing way, because it's like, it's been a while since the Fox projects. Those are dead and gone, and maybe even exemplified within canon. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Who knows what they're gonna do with those characters? But like, yeah, I'm looking forward to the X-Men, but I am interested to see what movie means in the end. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, exactly. You know, you kind of just make a point. Like, the movie's being exemplified. Like, who knows what Deadpool 3 is gonna do?
Yeah.
Right. Who knows how that's really going to affect everything?
I
have some thoughts.
You know what? I think Deadpool 3 is going to be the real multiverse of madness.
It is. No, it is. It's like, I've been calling it in my head, Deadpool 3 cameos of madness. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Like, I actually really think that is what it's going to be. I have thoughts.
Deadpool kills the multiverse. Yeah.
Deadpool kills the Fox universe.
Yeah.
How do you separate yourself from what was, while at the same time honoring what it was? Because that's what Sean Levy said they were basically going to do. And that's what Kevin Feige wants to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll talk about that in just a bit. But first, I want to say a big thank you to Elgato for sponsoring this video. If you guys are listening to the podcast, the mic, my XLR mic from Elgato, is what you are hearing. Sound is fantastic. If you're watching, all the studio lights in my studio are Elgato, and Law is actually using an Elgato face cam.
My tried and true.
Yeah, they're fantastic. The lights are also amazing because they're not hot. They do not heat up my room. My other lights before, they really were like so hot, and I would sweat. And now I'm wearing a sweatshirt and I'm feeling fine. And you can control all the lights from your phone, or if actually from like a lot of different things like Stream Deck and everything like that. But if you want to check out Elgato, we'll put the link to my Elgato stuff in the comments down below. Big thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Many of you may know that I personally use HelloFresh and I love it. It makes cooking fun, easy, and it's affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit delivered straight to your door. And you might not know that they actually have seasonal recipes. Right now, since it's summer, they have their new Fresh and Fit summer menu. So if you're trying to get that beach bud, but you're also trying to eat really great tasting food, it's perfect for you. Right now, it's peak time for summer produce, and HelloFresh makes sure you get all the best picks all season long. Their ingredients travel from the farm to your door in less than 7 days for quality you can taste. If you are trying to impress your friends this summer by doing some cooking for them, HelloFresh makes it super simple. They give you all of the ingredients and tell you exactly how to make each meal. And the best part is, right now you can go to hellofresh.com/50cosmic and use code 50cosmic for 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. That's hellofresh.com/50cosmic and use code 50cosmic for 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. Now, going back to Deadpool, I'm so excited for this movie, and I did a video the other day that was like, hey, it's okay to get excited for Deadpool, because a lot of people don't want to get let down because of Multiverse of Madness, right? Because we really thought Multiverse of Madness was going to be was like, they're going to go into so many different universes, and every time they go into a universe, they're going to see a variant of some sort, right? Which it's like, yeah, sure, they kind of did go through a lot of different universes for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like, and then they just kind of stayed in one universe. But Deadpool is almost the opposite of that. Well, also possibly being the same thing, because we know it's supposed to be like a road trip for Deadpool and Wolverine. But from what we've heard right now, a bunch of people from a bunch of different universes that are dying, incursions happening, are going to be kind of saved and put into one universe, kind of like Avengers Secret Wars Battle World.
Sure.
Right? 2014-15 version.
Okay.
And so that's like everyone coming into one universe from all the other universes. And I'm not really sure about the other part, but I think Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be like traveling different universes as well. So this really is like the multiverse film. Like it's going to be pretty crazy. I think it was Grace Randolph who said it's going to be like a Noah's Ark, basically like
of
Hey,
heroes from across the galaxies.
right, exactly.
Wow.
Right?
Interesting.
It sounds really cool. And so we know that Kevin Feige's plan is to honor these old X-Men, I call them X-Men legacy characters, and bring them into the MCU and say goodbye to them properly. So this is a really good idea because Deadpool's gonna, I've heard Deadpool is like an Infinity War to Endgame. So it like the events directly set up what is happening in Avengers Secret Wars.
Dynasty, Secret Wars.
Right. It's almost like there's a bunch of part ones to Secret Wars. Right. It's like part 1.1, Deadpool 3, part 1.2, Kang Dynasty, part 1.3, Doctor Strange 3. Like, I feel like a bunch of things are going to happen at the exact same time, and then they go into Secret Wars.
Sure. Yeah.
Which
that's like an interest. I could totally see that happening because
right,
just like based on the conversations we're happening, based on the fact that Loki's coming out, and everything's dealing with multiverse right now.
Right.
So it all feels like it's a big setup. So this is probably what some people were saying, like, where is Marvel going? Like this is
where it's going.
Where they're going. Yeah. This is it. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And it's really exciting. It just got even more exciting with the announcement of the X-Men movie, which I'm still like, I'm kind of baffled. And I don't know where it's going to end up on the timeline, which is,
I feel like it's such a special project that they'll put it in wherever it needs to be, once it feels right. Because imagine. Sorry, go for it.
Well, before after Secret Wars is a big decision. That determines a lot because that'll determine part of the story.
Yeah. Because if this is a goodbye, a proper goodbye to those Fox legacy characters, like you said, like giving Cyclops his due, James Marsden, you deserve it. Buddy.
Oh, he deserves it, man. He deserves it.
He was a good Cyclops. He just was an underutilized one.
I feel like him as an actor for a long time was just underutilized.
He was always the dude whose girl was being taken.
Who lost the girl. The Notebook. A bunch of
Enchanted.
Everything.
Superman Returns. Poor guy. He was great in jury duty.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, but and like the Sonic movies now, I don't care what people say. Those movies are fun.
Those movies are so good. Yeah,
they're awesome. I love them. It's just I'm not expecting Martin Scorsese to call it cinema, but
no,
dude was awesome, and he's been, I think, just over the past handful of years, he's been fantastic.
Yeah,
and I really
all
hope
that to say, if it's a proper goodbye,
right,
and New Mutants being an origin story. That kind of fits in, what I mean? Like, here are the new ones, know. So,
and I guess that does make the most sense. You actually have a good point there. Like, if we are saying goodbye, it makes sense to say hello, not picking up from like another point in the story, but rather starting at the beginning.
Yeah.
So with that thought, it actually does make me believe that this is probably phase 7. The X-Men movie is probably phase 7. Like the start of phase 7, right? If we're saying goodbye, and we'll say hello. Because if Secret Wars is the goodbye, then the next phase right after phase 7 should be the hello to the new ones.
It's interesting. There's 2 big families coming up, which is like the mutants, and there's Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
I think that's phase 7, those big event movies, maybe, or like, I don't know how they're going to build it out, but I know that focus is probably going to shift that way. Like,
I think the Avengers take a sideline for a bit.
Yeah, me too.
They've had 10 plus years of awesomeness. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think you can ignore them. I don't think you can simply say they're not there anymore, right? Like,
no.
We're always gonna have Easter eggs, and maybe Rhodey becomes a president eventually or something like that, right?
It's like Wolverine was in the Avengers. You know what I mean?
Of course, right? Yeah, and there's a lot of crossovers.
I want to see, like, just like in the comics. Like, I remember I was reading Runaways back in the day, and I was like flipping through the pages, and then suddenly Captain America, Spider-Man, and Wolverine show up trying to like get the kids back to their parents, and I was just like, it's so cool, because like just pop in. It's like a legitimate cameo, right? I want that to continue through the MCU. That's what made it special when Falcon showed up in Ant-Man. You know what I mean? Like, it just ties it all in, and they can't forget about them, but I just don't want to be like, oh, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in this one too. It's like, yeah, or whatever. Where's Thor?
Where's Thor? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then there's things like, like She-Hulk takes the Thing spot in the Fantastic Four, at some point in time in comic. Like there's a lot of things that they could really do to keep those cool big cameos and crossovers, all while kind of focusing on, newer characters, which is exciting in its own. But it's so weird how exciting it would be if you have just like a few movies about the Xmen, Fantastic Four, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, Thor's here. Yeah. And it would be really funny for like the newer watchers who maybe haven't watched, all the original Marvel stuff. It's like that's Thor from like the OG MCU. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting thought.
It's crazy that that's actually going to be a thing at some point in time, whether that's 10 years from now or 20 years from now. There's going to be some kids watching the newer MCU, going to see a cameo and going to go, oh, is that Thor? Like, what Thor is this? Like, bro, that's from like the 4th MCU movie. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean? Oh, it's sad and exciting. I hope I'm the person to go, it's from the 4th MCU
movie. we're gonna keep getting older, and we're gonna be that eventually one day.
Unfortunately. This is it's totally off topic, but I saw like a fun fact yesterday that was like the amount of I don't even remember, the amount of people older than you will never increase. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Because the amount of people younger than you will always increase, but the opposite is true. Completely off topic, but it was one of those things where I was just like, whoa, like Keanu Reeves, like,
yeah.
But no, I mean, it is crazy to think of the MCU that far in advance.
Yeah, like it is. It feels really like, I don't know. Like there's not a lot of merit, like there's no meat to it. It just feels like we're grasping at possibilities, but we need to see the next couple movies and like what mutant means in the MCU to make like real like theorizations, I guess.
Yeah, and again, that's where Deadpool 3 comes in. Just if it and okay, so I say like I get my hopes up because Sean Levy came out and in an interview and he was like, hey, look, there are all of these Fox movies that happened before. We're not going to ignore those. I'm like, fantastic. That basically confirms everything every insider has said, where we're going to see, some original X-Men. Ben Affleck was spotted on set. Some people are saying, oh, he just went to visit Jennifer Gardner because his kids were there. Who knows if he's returning as Daredevil or not, but Elektra's going to be in it. I hope Nick Cage's Ghost Rider pops up. You know what I mean? Like if you really are saving a bunch of different people from different universes, like, dude, okay, save some cameos for Secret Wars.
Sure, yeah.
But I also at the same time think like the big cameos in Secret Wars are going to be like Robert Downey Jr. returning as an Iron Man variant, right? And Scarlett Johansson returning as Black Widow from a different universe. Like I think those will be really, really big ones.
Yeah.
Those will be big ones. Whereas Deadpool, I mean, the story Deadpool kills the Marvel universe is you can perfectly adapt that into Deadpool kills the Fox universe. And then at the end, he's in the MCU.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Boom. It's,
easy does it.
The Noah's Ark idea is actually a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I hope that's true. Yeah.
We'll see, because like it is a big task, but like I love Sean Levy. I think he has a really great, like,
he's done such a great job.
Yeah, he does. He's just so good with like really big concepts, I think, and then making it feel really palatable still at the same time. Like as a consumer, like you're not lost in the story.
Yeah, and it's also Free Guy.
Yeah, Free Guy is a great one. Didn't he do Atom Project?
He did do the Atom Project. Yeah, that one actually probably is a little bit harder to grasp your head around.
Yeah, but that one I really enjoyed. One of my favorite Ryan Reynolds performances. But
for sure,
I have a lot of faith in what Deadpool 3 will be, because I just think it's gonna be refreshing to see like a parody of the MCU now. You know,
that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And like quick, it's not a side note, but quick note. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. The kid who plays in the Atom Project, who plays the younger past version.
Percy Jackson guy. Scoble.
Yes. Yeah. Ryan Austin. Sorry, buddy. I don't remember. But there's a rumor that Kid Pool is going to be in Deadpool 3 and that he might play him.
Oh,
because somebody
Walker Scoble.
It is. It is. I remember. Somebody said like get Walker Scobell to play Kidpool in Deadpool 3, and Ryan Reynolds liked the tweet. So a lot of people are like, "Oh snap, is it happening?" Because
awesome.
Some insider reported Kidpool is going to be in there as a variant, and it's like, "Oh crap, is it going to be him?" Because have you seen the video of him like quoting?
Yeah,
it's so
good. I actually interviewed him and the Percy Jackson cast and Rick Riordan once, all on the same carpet. Yeah,
there you go.
All good kids.
That's cool.
And then Rick Riordan was not a kid, but he was also good.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that would be a really cool idea. That would be, and again, both for Sean Levy, both Ryan Reynolds, right? So it's like
Hugh Jackman's back for a reason, right? Like,
yeah,
something had to have clicked correctly to make that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all these other actors are back. Kevin, there's a lot of faith I put in MCU. I always say trust the process.
Yeah.
I might not have my favorite. I might see a trailer and be like, I don't know. But I'll still watch it and then make my opinion. I'm not trying to shit on anything before I see it.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Deadpool 3. I don't want to say I think it's safe to be hyped about it. There's
I mean, even if I've said this in a few videos, even if you like take everything away that insiders have said, at the very least, we are getting Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, Hugh Jackman and Ryan.
That's the team up we wanted.
That is more than enough for me.
Yeah.
To just be super. And I still, even though all these cameos are said to happen, I still want the focus to be on like the dynamic between, I'm just going to say Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, because that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Right. They are those characters. So it's like, that is enough to be just ecstatic about the movie. And 100%. That's what I am. And then watch them fight, like physically fight, because they can heal, so they're just gonna start stabbing each other, and just like gonna be
that's a good point.
An endless bloodbath that like really is never gonna end, right? I mean, we've watched Deadpool get ripped in half before. I mean, like so,
and we get to finally see Wolverine again, or like maybe amputating some folks real, who knows? We saw it in Logan, but I don't know. There's something about the comic nature of a Deadpool.
Right. Yeah. Not so serious violence, even though it can look like that a lot.
And you know what? We can finally get a proper fastball special too, which is my favorite. They did them in like the Fox movies, but like it never looked right. But like I just want whoever's throwing Wolverine to look bigger than Wolverine. And you can't really do that with Hugh Jackman normally.
Yeah, because he is not 5'4".
No, he is not. But that's a conversation for another time.
I love how when the picture first came out of Ryan and Hugh as Wolverine, you edited it to make Hugh Jackman's Wolverine smaller. You're like, there, I fixed it.
I fixed it. I also put a cowl on him too. I was just like, this is what I want.
That's that's so funny. That's so funny that I laughed so hard when I saw that picture, because at first I was like, what did he fix? And then I was like, oh, he made him shorter.
He made it perfect.
Now he's incredibly comic accurate, like to the T. Like,
finally.
Yeah, that's so funny. But yeah, lots of exciting things. Lots of exciting things coming. But man, I am curious about what they're gonna do with this new X-Men movie. But excited that hey, Kevin, are you watching this? You're accepting writers right now. Do we count? Got some ideas.
I'll get a story by credit if you'll give it to me.
There you go.
I don't need to write the whole thing. A story by, I'll take it.
Just take what we just did, or put us in the movie as bystanders or something.
I used to always want to play like a Nightcrawler or of course. For a while, Iceman was like my favorite, but it's like, I'm brown, but like, well, if I could be in the MCU in any capacity, X-Men would be pretty cool, or an agent of Atlas.
Agent of Atlas. I've always wanted to play Wolverine. Always, just I'm short. I'm actually taller than Wolverine in the comics.
You're taller than him, but you have the big broad shoulders and stuff. Too.
Yeah, I'm like a bulky guy, right?
Yeah.
Right, but I could lean down, Kevin Feige. If you're listening, lean down, man.
And if not, you know what you're doing for Halloween this year.
Yeah, right. That is like the oldest photo I have of me in Halloween is me dressed as Wolverine.
Wow,
I posted it a few times.
A long time love.
Yeah, no, I've loved Wolverine since. I mean, I think I'm probably like 6 in the picture that I have. But yeah, no, he's been my favorite for like freaking ever, from watching like, the animated series and everything to, the first X-Men film that came out. Like, yeah, that's why like Deadpool 3 is going to be such like a cool thing same thing with Secret Wars. Like, just
to finally see that character played by an actor who does Wolverine a lot of justice in like a more really comic book friendly universe. Hell yeah. That's like, I think that we all wanted mutants for so long, and this is like a really great way to see them in the MCU, in a big way too. So
yeah, in a really big way. And I think Kevin Feige is going to do it right, because he's worked on that first X-Men film.
Yeah.
Right. In 2000, right? He was a junior producer. And then just ever since then, he's, worked his way up, and then president of Marvel Studios, and look where we're at now. So I have faith and I have excitement, right? Sometimes we don't want to get our hopes up, but my hopes are up because I think Deadpool 3 is going to be fantastic. But go ahead and let us know what you think about everything.
Yeah, tell us what you thought. Tell us what you want to see from the new X-Men movie, since they're hiring writers. Maybe it could be one of you. If you have a good idea, sound off in the comments, I think.
Go. Kevin Feige, read the comments. Do it.
Story by credit.
Exactly.
Cosmic Wonder. All right.
But yeah, so be sure to subscribe, because we are going to be talking about Loki October 3rd. That was the date. October 3rd. It's coming. Look out for that then. And in the meantime, catch you all in the next episode. Woof woof.